my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today we are going to be making a crocheted amigurumi bunny rabbit with cardigan. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun. It's relatively simple once you understand the basics. And first things first, we have our materials. Yes, I'm going to be using, this is Red Heart Super Saver. Now, this yarn in particular, I really like for doing amigurumi toy, crocheted projects because it is machine washable, it is 100% acrylic, so it's durable, it's inexpensive, and there's no dye lot. So if you run out, you can always get more. So this I have used for probably all of my crocheted amigurumi stuffed animals and toys and plushies and things. It's very, very good to use. My opinion, not sponsored, just my opinion. So I'm going to be using this, and I'm going to be using a size H 5mm hook. If you need to, you can change your hook size. If you're finding that your stitching is too open, I tend to have a death grip on my hook as I stitch. So for me, an H works just fine. Also, of course, you are going to need polyfill stuffing, which I have lots of right here. Basically, it's like pillow stuffing in essence. And it is very soft and foofy. Again, also, it is machine washable and dryable once it's inside of your little friend. And also, you will need some contrasting colors as well. For the facial features, you will probably need some pink and some black, or whatever it is that you choose. You could use safety eyes for your bunny. However, to make this 100% safe, I'm going to be stitching in the eyes using more yarn. I'm going to be using some black yarn for the eyes so that it is 100% safe and soft, that too. As for the cardigan, let me see here. This is a little ball that I have left over. This is Lion Brand's ice cream yarn. It's a weight of 3 yarn, and with this yarn, I made the cardigan. Now, where's my hook? Sorry, I found my hook. With this yarn, I used a size G 4mm hook, so slightly thinner yarn, slightly smaller hook, and that will be for the cardigan. And out of one of those big scoop ice cream skeins, you get so much yardage, you can make a ton of little sweaters. Now, of course, as always, you can use whatever hook size and whatever yarn you want, but this is what I used to get the results that I ended up getting. You can play around with it by all means, but I'm just letting you know what it is that I used. Also, all of this information is available on the pattern that I have been writing up, and at the time that I'm filming this, it's not quite ready yet, but I do hope that it will be ready when I publish these videos, and it will be available on my Etsy store, link in the description box down below. Yeah. And of course, you will need a yarn needle for sewing in all of your ends and attaching pieces and so on and so forth. But other than that, it's a really, I would say, straightforward and easy process, and I hope you enjoy it. So, with that being said, let's get started. Okay. Alrighty, so first things first, we need limbs for our little bunny rabbit friend. All right, now this is an arm, and I already have my 2 legs already made up. The only difference between the arms and the legs is 5 rounds of length. Yeah. And it's very, very, very simple. And I thought it would be nice to start with the easiest aspect of this project first and go from there. So when you're doing this, you are going to need, of course, your base color of bunny yarn, and you are going to need a bit of scrap so that you can keep track of what round you are on, a pad and paper to keep track of what round number you're on, or a stitch counter. This I love. This has been such a game changer for me. Just a stitch counter, I tell you. It's a clover stitch counter. People do ask me from time to time. Found it at Michael's. Totally worth it, believe you me. Or, just pen and paper. That's fine too. And of course, also, as you are stitching your limbs, it really is a good idea to stuff as you go, because it's very difficult to stuff from all the way up here into the very base and have a nice even stuffing throughout. All right, so that being said, let's start on the limbs. All right. All right, so for round 1 for our limbs, going to start with, of course, our obligatory slip knot. Now, you could use a magic ring, or you could do a couple of chains and slip stitch to the first chain to create a ring. Honestly, I think that this method that I'm going to show you works just as well, if not better. We're going to start, after doing our slip knot, a chaining of 2. And then we are going to do our single crochets into that first chain. And we need to do 5 of them for the first round. So going right into this first chain with 5 singles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then, of course, you can cinch up your tail, okay? And also, you can add your scrap yarn. And what I like to do is I like to go in through, grab my scrap yarn, pull a little tail of it through that last stitch, and tighten things up, and there you go. That is the end of round 1. Now, we didn't go all the way around, but that will happen in round 2. All right, be right back. Okay, round 2. We're going to be going from 5 stitches up to 10 stitches. So it's 2 stitches per stitch. Okay, so easiest way to see it is we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's this first stitch right here. Go in and grabbing your working yarn, not your tail, and go in with 2 single crochets. So we've got 1 and 2, and then 2 in the next, 3, and 4, and then 5, and 6, 7, 8, and then into that last stitch, 9, and 10. Okay, and then you move your scrap yarn up. So what I do is I just insert my hook, grab the scrap yarn, and pull it through. Oh, I pulled it through too much. It happens. But yeah, you want to pull it through so that it marks your place, the beginning and end of every round. And so I'm just going to cinch up my initial tail. And that is the end of round 2. All right. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew in this end, make it a little bit easier to deal with. All right. I'll be right back. All right. Round 3 for the limbs is going to be actually the last of the increase rounds for your limbs. So into the next stitch, 2 single crochets, 2 into that one stitch, and then 1 into the next stitch. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then into the next stitch, 2, into that same stitch, and then 1 into the next. So at the end of this round, we are going to have a total of 15 single crochet stitches all the way around. So that's 2, and then 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then move your scrap yarn up. I really feel that this does significantly help, believe you me. Or you could always use a stitch marker that opens and closes. One of those closed rings that does not open, not going to be of any help to you, trust me. All right, so that is the end of round 3, and we shall press on. Okay. All right, so rounds 4 through 28, that's why it's good to have a little stitch counter here, row counter. Yes, rounds 4 through 28 will complete one of your little arms. And if you want to make the leg, it's rounds 4 through 33. The difference is a total of 5 rounds. It's not a huge difference, but it is enough for, one to be longer than the other, and it's still to be relatively in proportion. So basically, for rounds 4 through 28, I keep looking at my notes. Basically, it's just 1 stitch, 1 single crochet per stitch. It's just 15 stitches around. Nice, simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And you just keep working your way around. And then every time you finish a round, you just move your scrap yarn up. And as you can see, my piece, it is starting to cup a little bit because I'm not increasing anymore. And it will continue to do so, and then it'll start making a tube as you keep going. And once there is a significant concavity and it starts to look like a hot dog, then you need to start adding your stuffing. Not too much because you don't want to interfere with your stitching, but you do want to fill it up as you go. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. So, see, already I'm on round 5. And just keep going. It's as easy as that to make some bunny limbs. And of course, if you want to, you can make them longer or shorter. It is totally up to you. But if you want to follow the instructions and patterns as they are, this is what you would do. That is up to you. I do give you some artistic license. As far as the cardigan is concerned, I would suggest these measurements, at least when it comes to the arms. And see, we're almost done with round 5 already. And then you insert your hook, pull your scrap through, boop, and then I'm up to round 6. So as you can see, we already have the beginnings of a little bunny foot, little paw. Yep. And so then, when you have reached the length, I'm going to show you how you can finish up your limbs to keep all the stuffing in and so forth. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so I have one of my little bunny legs all finished and ready to go, and it's nice and stuffed, and it is firm. If you want it to be more squishy, you can totally do that. Over time, it does become more squishy as it gets a lot of love and so forth. So I think it's better to overpack it initially, because after a while, it does start to sort of become a little less al dente. All right, so I already threaded my yarn. And so what I find helps when you are finishing up your legs is what we're going to do is we're going to seal this closed, and then after the body is completed, basically just sew this onto the body. So what I do is I go in through this first available stitch and then go in through that last stitch and just pull through. And I guess this is like the blanket stitch, or no, this is the whip stitch, excuse me. So basically you're just going in through the one and then through the other and then just pull through. And why my camera keeps going out of focus, I don't know, but I do apologize. And then you just go in through the next two stitches. And then through the next two. And this is just going to keep it closed and keep it from oozing stuffing. And then through the next two. And also, yes, I did forget to mention, but when you are finished with one of your limbs, you want a lot of leftover yarn, because that way you will be able to stitch your piece closed and then stitch it to the rest of the body and so forth. There's no sense in making more ends to sew in than is necessary. Okay, so it is ready to rock and roll. So as soon as the body is finished, you can then attach this to the body and he can be mobile. All right, one down. All right, so once you have finished your limbs, you can then work on the body. Yes. All right, so I shall be back and we shall continue. All righty. All right, so now we're going to work on constructing the body, the base of our bunny. All right, so for round one, going to start just as we did with the legs and the arms. We're going to start by doing our slip knot and a chaining of 2, and then 5 single crochets into that first chain that we created. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that is round 1. Okay, round 2. Again, we're going to be increasing, so it's going to be 2 single crochet stitches into each stitch. I haven't put in my place marker yet. That's because it's still early days, so it's not a problem. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So into this stitch right here, scoot right in there. There we go. And 2 stitches into this stitch. So that's 1, 2 in the first stitch, then into the next stitch, 3 and 4 into the next stitch, 5 and 6 into the next, 7 and 8 into the next one, 9 and 10. All right, so now what I'm going to do is off camera, I'm going to sew in my tail end and put in my marker, this last stitch that we did, and that is the end of round 2. All right, round 3, again, very much like the limbs that we already did. Basically, it amounts to, we started with 5, Then we went up to 10. Now we're going to go up to 15. It's an increase of 5 stitches every round, but evenly displaced. So the repeat for round 3 is 2 in the first stitch, 1 in the next stitch, 2 in the next stitch, 1 in the next stitch. So it's 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way around. So it is 1 and 2, then 3 by itself. And then 1 and 2 in the one stitch, and then 3 by itself. 1 and 2, 3 by itself. 1 and 2 and 3 by itself. 1 and 2, and then last but not least 3 by itself. And then move up your marker. There we go. All right, and that is the end of round 3. All right, round 4, we're going to be going from 15 stitches all the way up to 20. Now, actually, there's a very easy way of remembering how many stitches you need for each round. So it's an increase of 5 stitches, right? Well, 5 times 4 is 20. All right, and then the one before that, it was round 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. That is, I found, the easiest way of knowing where you need to go. And so let's continue. So since this is round 4, it's 1 and 2 in the first stitch, and then 3 by itself, and 4 by itself. Then 1 and 2 together, and then 3 by itself, and 4 by itself. 1 and 2 together, 3 by itself, 4 by itself, 1 and 2 together, 3 by itself, 4 by itself, 1 and 2 together, 3 by itself, and 4 by itself. Ta-da! All right, and then move your marker up. Like so. And that is the end of round 4. All righty. All right, round 5, same deal, just one more stitch. So it's going to be a total of 25 stitches. So 1 and 2 together, 1 and 2 in that first stitch, then 3, 4, and 5, each stitch separate. Then 1 and 2 into that same stitch, and then 3, 4, and 5 separately. So that's 3, 4, and 5. 1 and 2 together, and 3, 4, 5, 1 and 2 together, 3, 4, 5, 1 and 2 together, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, then move your marker up like so. And that is the end of round 5. Okay, round 6, we're still increasing. So 1 and 2 together. Then 3, 4, 5, and 6 separate. So next stitch makes 3, next stitch makes 4, next makes 5, and next makes 6. Then 1 and 2 together, 1 and 2, then separately 3, 4, 5, and 6. Continue on in this fashion until you reach the beginning and then move your stitch marker up. All right, be right back. All right, so round 7, same sort of routine. So it's going to be 2 stitches together in the first stitch. That's 1 and 2. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 separate. So next stitch makes 3. Next is 4. Next is 5. Next is 6. And next is 7. Then 2 in the next stitch. 1 and 2 together. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 1 and 2 together, 1 and 2, then separately, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Continue on in this fashion until you reach the beginning. Move your stitch marker up, and I will meet up with you for the next round. Okay. All right, round 8 is going to be the last increase round for the body, and 5 times 8 is 40, so that's how many stitches are going to be what we have for the circumference of the body. So again, following suit with what we've been doing, into the first stitch, 2 stitches together. That's 1 and 2. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are going to be separated. So we already have 2. So 3 by itself, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. Just double check. All right, so I went to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Okay. Then 2 into the next stitch. It's 1 and 2. So we've got 1 and 2. Then separately, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and then 2 into the next stitch. 1 and 2 together, and then separately 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so again, follow suit with what we've been doing. Do your increases, and then follow that by 6 more stitches for your repeat of 8 stitches around. And then when you reach that last stitch, bring your tail up, and I will meet up with you for round 9. Be right back. All right, so we just finished round 8. Our piece is not going to get any bigger as far as the circumference goes. So right now what we need to do is we need to create more of an oblong tube shape, just like we did with the limbs. So to proceed from here, it's going to be rounds 9 through 28. Okay, that's going to be 20 rounds. We are not doing any increasing or decreasing. It's just one single crochet per stitch. 40 stitches around, total of 20 rounds. Okay, and then we're going to start with the tapering of the neck so that it's not, a complete sausage. um, and I will show you how to do that with a more gradual taper than just a complete decrease. Okay, so like I said, rounds 9 through 28, just do one stitch per stitch all the way around. Be sure to move your marker up as you go. And once it starts to create a cupping concavity shape, more so than it is right now, start to put in some stuffing, okay? And I will meet back up with you. Alrighty, see you in a bit. All right, we are up to round 29 of the torso. Did all of my stitches in each stitch. We have a nice tubular shape, little sausage body. All right, so now we're going to be working on the decreasing. Now, what you could do is go underneath both legs of the next stitch, pull up a loop, go underneath both legs of the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull through all three. However, a method that I find works a little bit better, a little bit neater, is just to go underneath the front loop facing you. This one here. Pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull through all three. And that covers 2 stitches, and we need to do 6 more for a total of 8 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then decrease again through the front loop, through the front loop of the next one, and pull through all 3 to decrease. So that counts as 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 through the front loops. 1 and 2 in the next. Pull through all 3. So that counts as 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Go through the front loops again for the first 2 stitches. So pull up the front loop, that's 1. Front loop for 2. Pull through all 3. Okay, so that's the first 2 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to do it once more. Pull through the front loop of the first 2. 1. Okay, that's the first 2 stitches. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, then move your marker up. And so we went from a total of 40 stitches down to 35. Okay, so for the next row, well, the next round, excuse me, semantics. So for round 30, just do 1 stitch in every stitch all the way around. We're not going to be doing any decreasing or increasing. So to show you really quick, excuse me, whenever you reach the point where you did your decrease, which would be right here, you just treat it like a normal stitch. Okay? Just 1 stitch in each stitch all the way around, and that will be 35 stitches. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because it's going to create a nice tapering effect to the neck. All right? So I will meet back up with you for round 31. Be right back. All right, so I finished round 30 by just doing 1 stitch in each stitch. Now for round 31, we're going to decrease again. Now, at the beginning of this round, we have a total of 35 stitches, right? Well, we need to decrease a total of 5 stitches from that, so it will be a total of 30. So, like we were doing last time, going underneath the first loop, the front loop of the first stitch, pull up a loop, front loop of the next stitch, and that's going to count as 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, and, well, sorry, 7. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's all about the 7s for this round. Okay, we'll do that one more time. Through the front loop, through the front loop, crochet those 2 together. So that counts as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Keep decreasing in the same fashion until you reach the end, and of course move your stitch marker up. One more time. Pull up a loop. Pull up a loop. That counts as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, do the rest of the round on your own, and I will be right back. Okay. Okay, so at this point, you should have a total of 30 stitches all the way around the top of your neck. And so for round 32, again, it's going to be a matter of just doing 1 stitch in each stitch all the way around. We're not going to increase, decrease, nothing. Easy peasy all the way around. Just 1 stitch in each stitch. And keep going until you reach the beginning. Move your marker up, and I will meet back up with you for round 33, where we are going to decrease once again. I'll be right back. Okay, round 33. We're going to decrease again from 30 stitches down to 25. So again, pull up the front loop of the first and the front loop of the second. Pull through all 3 loops. So that counts as 2 stitches. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, decrease again. 1 and 2 through the front loops, pull through all 3. So that's 2 stitches, 3, 4, 5, and 6 through the front loop, through the front loop, pull through all 3. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, then finish the rest of the round on your own. Decrease, and then 4 more stitches because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so do that twice more. Move your marker up, and I will meet back up with you. Okay, so at this point, for round 34, you should have 25 stitches all the way around. And again, this is going to be another one of those rounds where you're just going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around, and be sure to move your marker up when you reach the beginning. And we have 1 more decrease round to go. Yep, and then it'll be easy peasy from here on in. All right, so just do this 1 regular round, and then I'll meet back up with you for round 35. Okay, last decrease round, I promise. All right, so for this decrease round, it's going to be in sets of 5. So, because we're going to go from 25 stitches down to 20. So, through the front loop and through the front loop, pull through all 3. So that's 2, and then 3, 4, and 5 through the front loop and through the front loop. That counts as 2, 3, 4, and 5 through the front loop and through the front loop. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5 through the front loop, through the front loop. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, once more. Through the front loop, through the front loop, pull through all 3, 3, 4, and 5. Great. Okay, so then move your stitch marker up, and we've got just 2 more rounds to get through. Rounds 36 and 37. Just do 1 stitch in each stitch all the way around. Be sure to move your marker up, and then when you are done, be sure to leave a really long tail as per usual, because we're going to need that tail for sewing the head onto the top of this open neck once we have the head finished, of course. But that's going to have to happen in another video, I'm afraid. But let me just finish this up first, and I'll be right back. All right, my dears, so I did rounds 36 and 37 off camera, just 1 stitch per stitch all the way around for 20 stitches for the neck. Yes, I am going to have to add some more stuffing, but no need to worry about that just yet, because we still need to make a couple of more pieces for our bunny. We've got the arms, and we have the legs, and these are nice and stitched closed. But yes, leave this open because we're going to attach the head directly, and it is going to look fabulous. Yes, it is. So, as always, thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you are enjoying. You know I am. And In the next part, we will cover um, the other pieces that are necessary, which we still have to cover the tail and the ears and the head. Yep. So stay tuned for more because there's more on its way. Yes, there is. And if you are enjoying this, please give a little thumbs up button down below. I do appreciate your appreciation ever so much. And until next time, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please stay safe. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.